Please remember to subscribe to Bakerstreet.coasters YouTube. Anyways, today we are looking at something that hasn't quite been speculated. Like most of my stuff isn't quite speculated. So yeah, we are today going to the centre of the UK, and we are looking at London. So Merlin is known for London attractions such as the London Eye. I'm going to name them all. London Eye. We have the London Dungeon, Shrek's Adventures, DreamWorks Friends and Shrek. We also have Madden 2 Tours London. I totally forgot the last one because I had it in my head. But yeah, London is known for many attractions with Merlin, and the real question is are we going to see another big attraction come to London? Now, presuming it's the centre of I worry about the future of the London Eye. Why is that? Why do you worry about the future of the London Eye? So yeah, London's home to many attractions. I've already said them, but there has been a recent talk about with a certain Disney World being in London. Now this area is like cleared. It's got nothing in it. It hasn't even been approved. And because it hasn't been approved, it's just a piece of land rotting to death. And that's where my thought came in. Can we see Merlin just put a new attraction in this huge area? But then I also have that guilty conscience of them going, yes, the money prices are going to go up in these attractions. Now, also the location of stuff. So the only outsider of all the other London attractions is Madden Tussauds. This is because it's on Baker Street and it's like home to. You know what? Just realised Madden Tussauds has the dome of St Paul's Cathedral. I actually realised that. But yeah, it's in like a separate building compared to where the other attractions are, which are by the Thames. Now we have the London Eye, which is by the Thames. It's literally by the Thames. It was originally called the Millennium Wheel. And then we have the London Dungeon, Shrek's Adventure, Sea Life Centre. I think I've done them all. And then Madden Tussauds just in Baker Street area. PCR _ 2023 said a few years ago a H&S inspector mentioned it was having a lot of H&S issues. Whether it was true or not, I don't know. Interesting to think about though. Yeah, so I couldn't see Merlin just take away. I couldn't see the London Eye just disappear because it is a staple attraction and it's the biggest wheel, which features like a one. It's basically got like strings attached on one side and the other side hasn't. But yeah, I think it's for another video. But I'm a bit concerned about the future of the London Eye. But yes, that's for another video. But I do agree with you. So yeah, even though they have attractions in, so Merlin has attractions in London, they're all quite jumped up together. Now, it would be really nice to see this area get took over by Merlin. So the area that was meant to be the Disneyland that never went through, or the Resorts World, Orlando, whatever it was. It's just a dead piece of land rotting, like I've already said. And it would be really nice to see something like a themed area, like they did with Sea Life Centre and how they had the Gruffalo. Yeah, again, I don't agree with the Gruffalo being in Blackpool, but it would be really nice to see something to do with Jumanji, for example, or just a ride. It doesn't have to be in a theme park. The attraction could be a ride. It could be like a story. It will bring really good capacity of people to London, but it will also make Merlin seem a lot more wealthier in how they look after stuff and how they bring the reality to the real world. Because having a ride that isn't in a theme park is also open to all, but also it doesn't mean you have to pay to be in a theme park. You just have to pay to go on the ride, which I think is quite cool. And it has to be a pretty big ride, which, yeah, again, once you've seen stuff, what they've done with Curse at Alta Manor and with their ride, and what they've done with Jumanji at Gardaland, and the dungeon ride, and the 2 dungeon rides, and the other ride at Madden Tussauds, it would be really nice to see some sort of London spirit in there. PCR _ 2023 said, do you feel London Do you feel London has the infrastructure to support a theme park? I feel like Merlin should do an original, not new idea. Look at how great Bubble Works was. Say infrastructure. Yes, I think London was an infrastructure for a theme park. Now we've seen stuff like Thorpe Park, Legoland, and Chessington all be around London, but not in the centre of London. But London would be a really good infrastructure. Um, when referring to a ride, yes, it would, and like it just builds up that theming too, because it would be really good to see something to do with the Great Fire of London, because people in history, if you took history classes now in like school, you get to learn about the Great Fire of London and the London history. And then when you go to London, you can actually visit this attraction or theme park that's actually themed around Great Fire or themed around the history. We have something like the dungeons for that, but that's more like a low. It's not. It's more of a deathly and gothly area, and I would say it's much scarier than the other ones. I haven't been the York one, haven't been the Edinburgh one, but I have to say it's a lot more scarier than what I've been in. A lot scarier than the Blackpool and the Warwick Castle one. But when you look at it, it's like London's just missing a particular thing, and I don't know what it is. But Merlin's just missing out on this really top priority attraction. Now I don't know if it could be something to do with like um 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 what could it be? Illuminations. I don't know. My mind's just gone out. Like I don't know what Merlin could put there, but it'd be really cool to see him take over the land where it was officially not even planned to be a theme park. Um, but then it would be also good to see other like parks like Pleasure Beach, Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Amazing to see something there because it also tells them that they're also doing something and they're in competition with Merlin, which makes it way more adventurous. Um, PCR underscore 2023 says, I agree with your point about the dark feel for London. I can't see them doing another dark ride considering they have the dungeons. Uh, dark as in horror. Yes, I agree. But if they have the dungeons, they can't put that out of place. And also, if they have something like the Spirit of London in the Madden Two Swords, that also tells a story. So I can't see that being put out of place. But I think there could be a little park run by Merlin. It could be themed to anything, like Jumanji. You have Jumanji in Chessington, and it is in Chessington. But it would be also nice to see something to do with CBeebies Land. I would love to see BBC enter, like even though they're based in London, because the British Broadcasting Communication Service (TV), British Broadcasting Channel. Why have I said British Broadcasting Communication TV? Yeah, British Broadcasting Channel is based in London. It'd be really nice to see BBC do something with that area and have a cooperation with Merlin, like they have done with Alton Towers, even though it's like 15 million miles away from where they are based. Yeah, again, Jumanji is like 15 trillion miles away. Varies how many times you want to go around the world. But yeah, I would really nice. It would be really nice to see that actually be put in place in this area because we can see Disneyland won't be here because of different laws in the UK and the height restrictions. But then we can also can't see Orlando being here, Universal. Why am I saying Orlando? That's a place. We're just gonna put Orlando in this area. No, Universal being in this place. We also can't see stuff like Six Flags even come into this place because firstly it's a huge space. It's big enough for a theme park, but it's also not big enough. It also hasn't got that capacity of height within what they want because of tree height and other height restrictions they have in the UK. But it would be really, really lovely to see Merlin do something with this area, and I'm thinking something to do with a Madden Two Swords extended because when you go to the Madden Two Swords in London, it's always fully packed, and you have to wait so long just to get a picture with the first model you see. The PCR underscore 2023 says, do you remember about hearing Paramount making a London park? Yes, that's the area what I was on about. Sorry, Paramount was the guys who was meant to be taking over this area, but it's no longer there, and it was meant to be a London themed area. And I'm like, yeah, it works. It looked amazing. It had the tallest roller coaster, but yet again, it didn't go through because of the certain planning permission. It wasn't approved, and I'd say it doesn't lie in the emissions, because the amount of emissions one roller coaster can produce is quite high, and when you put loads of them, it doesn't quite fit with the super air zone they have, and also the air zone, like the clear air zone they have, which is also a thing that could be pushed away, and it could just stop this from happening. Hence why I don't think Merlin has took over this attraction. But if we could see this attraction being took over, or this piece of land being took over, it would be definitely a building, and it would be something to do with. It could be a scare maze. I'd love to see a scare maze, an all year round scare maze. It could be themed and different corporations, like the Saw X is coming out. It'd be amazing to see if it was a building and this area wasn't a deserted place. It would be lovely to see that building be used for Saw. It would be really good to see Merlin having that good communication with different sponsors. Hello, hello. But then it would also mean that it gives them money, even though they have to pay for the logo, but it gives them money because more people will know about this coaster because of the movie stuff. And it will really add to the premiere stuff as well, because when you have Friday night's premiere in London, we're talking a lot about this, and when they come to this place, they can go in this ride and know stuff about it before they actually go to the premiere and watch the movie. But also, it brings in a lot of celebrities because look at Jumanji World. Jumanji World opened. The movie hasn't been out for quite a while, but they opened it, and The Rock was there for like opening day and media day and not media day, whatever day it was called. It was like the pass holder day. And that was amazing. You had actors there that are like from around the world that just come to this place, and it really did buy that reputation into Jumanji and the name. But then also, if you had something like Saw X in this building of London, you can also see it by the name, and it will pay for itself. And the area it would be, there would be no issues with the government because they're getting the money, and this area wouldn't be declined if it did have that certain aspect to it. But if it didn't have anything to do with other companies, then I think Merlin would struggle with this area because yet again it's in the centre of London, but then the price wouldn't match what you're seeing or viewing. It's like when you go to a cinema, for example, you want to see something, but the price for it is okay. But when you come on public transport and all, if you're going to view for a ride or you're going to view something in for this attraction, you want your money's worth, and that's what you get out of stuff like Madden Two Swords and the Dungeon and Sea Life Centre, because they don't make it short, but it's quite long actually, and an hour and a half in the dungeon is it's just amazing. London Eye, and I think it's half an hour up there, but the views you get are amazing. I think it's an hour in London Eye, but then they make you want to come back for more, and that's why they do those saver things like the buy three attractions for the price of one, or whatever it is. But yet again, it gets people in that area, and if they did that, or they even gave a discount for this like deserted area, and they built a structure around it and themed it to a scare maze or something to do with a maze, that would be significantly important towards Merlin, but it would be also significant to the reputation of London. Whoa. PCR underscore 2023 says, you have to think about developing an experience. They can't do one single thing because after a year it's irrelevant. So we need development space, finances for central London, demographic. Yes. That's also another thing I was about to come on to. That is a really big issue with London because even though you have that planning permission, you have right, I'm taking on Saw X here. You have Saw X there, but then when that movie is out and it's like declining, nobody wants to go in there, and it'll be one thing, which is once you've experienced it once, you can't experience it again the same way. Which takes away the experience. But yet again, Dungeon, it would be really cool to see the Dungeon. Actually, no, Dungeon could be changed, but again, there's not much you can change about history, so yeah, again, the experience will be the same. But there are some stuff they can add, like David Bazalgette and his sewers, and you can also cholera in the year whatever it was in the 18th century. Cholera, how he killed a lot of people. That's some sort of dungeon aspect, but they didn't think about that. They focused on the main bit, which I think was alright. They started in the 1600s, which was alright, but that tells a story. And then when you go to Madden Two Swords, if you do that, or you pay for both of them, it really does add to the experience because you go from the dungeon with dark bits, tells you a bit about the Great Fire of London, and then you go into the Madden Two Swords and you have that more aspect of it because there's a bit of well, there's a whole ride designated to um Madame Tussauds, which I think is also amazing. It's called the Spirit of London, which is also designated to London and its history. So no matter which way you turn around, you would know some bits of what you're about to view in the next attraction. Now, it would be also amazing to see a museum be put in place. We've got loads of museums in London, but it would be good to see a dungeon museum and tell all of the. Unless you miss it. Wait, what? What am I missing? Sorry. Um, it would be really, really cool to see the history, but in a dungeons themed area. But it isn't live actors, so we don't have to pay much for it. But it's just a museum, and it just tells the dark bits of history because you have the London Great Fire of London Museum, I think it is. You also have the Museum of London. You have the Science Museum, but you haven't got the dark bits, and you haven't got it in the Merlin attraction kind of style, which I think would be very, very good to see because a walkthrough like Madame Tussauds and like every other attraction they have, apart from the Big Bill, which I don't think you want to walk out of that. But when you look at it that way, that's just an amazing thing. It'll be a really good immersive experience, and you know, it might have a big like impact on how it's run and how it's been laid out. But when it all comes together, I'm pretty sure they can pay it off. Yet again, it might be a big struggle of the government, but it's like having that experience and another experience to add to your day. It makes people stay in London longer, which also means they get more money, and it's what they need. It's what they need to upkeep all their rides and theme parks. If you look at theme parks, they get loads of money, but they don't do. They take little adjustments to the rides. They paint some stuff up, but it's mostly over the winter period. And as the cost of living goes up, you can also see the significance of different rides in different theme parks just degrade, and the reputation degrade, the paint jobs just degrade because it takes so much money just for a lick of paint on something, and it's just like why? But yet again, cost of living and cost of running a park is so much, and with them having a new attraction, yes, it might be a really big money thing that they need to adjust to, but they also need to make the attraction in a way that people will like it and come back to it and pay for it. And it'll just work. It just works. The reputation of London will just increase significantly because all the stuff over. But so in the first 5 years of the London Eye being there, a million. Or was it the first year? I think it's the first year. 1 million people have already rode for London Eye, and I'm like, if that's 1 million people, that was like 8 billion people. I wonder how many it is now. 23 million. God. PCR_2023 says, I don't think they will make that risk yet. Yes, I don't think they will, but it's a really good suggestion to put forward. Merlin would be really, really significant with this, and it would really do pack a punch to the UK theme parks, because Merlin Entertainments UK have a really huge impact on parks. They put so much effort into the theme parks, but when it comes to their attractions, they don't monitor how many people go in. Don't monitor how up to date it is. London areas they do because they have to, but when you go to Blackpool and stuff, it's just like the Madame Tussauds screens aren't even screens. They're just like they're what do they call them? They're a bunch of plastic just waving in the wind, basically. And they need to do something about that. But without that, they can't. They can't because they don't have money. But yet again, I think an LED screen's perfectly fine there. PCR_2023 says Merlin will consider maintenance, finance for land development costs, maintenance costs, staff repair costs, manufacturing costs, food, drinks, security, etc. I can't see them making this risk. They are? Oh God, I did not realise that. I didn't realise that. That's changed everything. But when they do come out of debt and they get significant good money, it would be really cool to see that area being used. But yeah, like I said, this isn't going to be definite, and I'm not saying from the heart, oh yes, do this. But it's always nice to observe Possibly. Yes, possibly. I will need to see. Yeah, but I'll message you later. Anyways, I am gonna go now, guys. So yeah, remember to subscribe to Bakerstreet.coasters in YouTube and smile always. And yeah, bye, guys.